I've always loved outdoors. I've been a sportsman all my life. I enjoyed hunting and fishing and stuff. But to have the opportunity to help reintroduce an animal back to Virginia that was here, many years ago, to be involved with bringing it back that we could share with folks here locally and folks that would travel here to get to see elk is just, I think probably one of the greatest things that I've ever been able to do or probably ever will be able to do in my lifetime.
Grew up in the county, native of the county, so when I was young, we were lucky to see a squirrel running around the woods, so the idea of having a potential 1,000-pound animal running around that we could potentially see just got us all excited about what we had heard historically had been around in Buchanan County and the area for years. So really excited about having the potential of having that kind of animal in your backyard.
Yeah, I'm proud to live here. I'm proud to have these elk here. And it's something that you don't have anywhere else in Virginia. This is the elk capital of Virginia, and this is elk country. So, being a part of that, that's a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
It was a super unique project to be able to be involved with the restoration of a native species. In Buchanan County, we were still restoring white-tailed deer as late as 1997. So people that grew up in Buchanan County may not have even seen a white-tailed deer until very recently. And now the restoration of elk makes it even more outstanding. These are native species that belong in this area and have an ecological role in the area. And I'm just honored to be a part of it. I'm honored to be able to say that I was working on this project, and I hope that my children and my grandchildren really get to take advantage of being able to see these wild critters walk around.
Every trip is just a real joy and a new adventure. You never know exactly what you're going to see, but it's awfully rewarding to bring someone who has never seen an elk before and to be able to show them elk in the state of Virginia, usually just a few hours from where they live. Just an awfully rewarding experience. Growing up in far southwest Virginia, I can remember when it was a big deal to see a deer, and you'd tell everybody you knew that you saw a deer. And then, bear after that, and wild turkeys probably before deer. But to be able to be part of the project to restore elk to the landscape, I can't really tell you in words how meaningful it's been to my life.
Well, the first settler in Buchanan County, by legend and lore, says killed a bull elk at the mouth of the creek. And you look at all we've got hollers all over the area. We've got Upper Elk Creek and Lower Elk Creek and Elk Run and Bull Creek. Elk was a part of life for the guys that first came in this area. And that was missing for a long time. They disappeared. Now we're rebuilding. We're doing something new here, and not so new as much as getting back to where we were. So I like to think that this may be like something happened when our great-grandparents were here settling for the first time. Not knowing what the future's going to hold, but knowing that these guys can come back from the dead, maybe so can we. And that's something that, can get us all something positive to think about. The elk are the draw right now. The elk is what's going to get you to come here, because we are Central Appalachia, and I like to think that we're getting back to what we used to be. Our topography is different than the vast majority of the rest of the state of Virginia. And our topography makes us unique in that And the way that our topography had to be utilized in the past for economic development and all those things has caused us to know that we've had to overcome hurdles, because it's not easy to get from point A to point B when you've got mountains that are just slammed against each other. We don't have wide open valleys. It's kind of like Patty Loveless's song, or when you live in the hollers, the sun sets at 5 o'clock and doesn't come up till 10 in the morning. So that's kind of what we have on top of the mountain when we've got this area that was mined, and that we're up here on top now, and the days are longer, the sky is bigger. We've got so much area that we could utilize for areas we used to go hunting in now that's regrown, that we've got vegetation on. We've got trail accessibility to actually right now around Southern Gap, over close to 200 miles of trail that you can hike, walk, get on an ATV, you can get on a bicycle if you've got the calves to do it. We do have a lot of up and down topography, but those things, those unique things, is what makes it so exciting for our local people. We know what it's like to have to climb the mountain both ways to go to school. So when you got this kind of area, again, that's what makes us proud of what we have to showcase to flatlanders and from people that may not have experienced this kind of land.
The biggest reaction we get with folks, especially if they see a larger bull, is always wow, because I think even folks have seen elk on TV or got to maybe see them at a long distance traveling or something. When they actually get to see an elk up close and personal, it really gives them opportunity to realize the size of the animal. And then, with, of course, the larger antlers and stuff, they're pretty impressive. And for folks to get to hear them bugle is always enjoyable to see the reaction when they hear that for the first time. They're always amazed, with the different groups of animals that they see here. You got the cows, the calves, and then, of course, the bulls.
For most of the year, the elk are pretty predictable. The unique thing what we have here, we've got a group of people that have kind of taken ownership of the area, so they will do a social media alert to where the elk are and what time they were seen, what they're doing for this week, and everybody seems to know. So it's again, there's been a lot of ownership of what Southern Gap has become to everyone. I like to say that it's kind of like Virginia's backyard. It's our playground, and we've got, what we've got here is something for everybody that's within a few hours drive can find out this afternoon that the elk are in the food plots, and they're bugling, or there's some elk fighting down here, and all of a sudden there'll be 150 people up here watching out over the hill, watching the elk fight. So.
You didn't see big game animals like deer or bear or turkey. A lot of the species that we see every day now, it was a big event if you saw those when I was growing up.
It's a lot different than what it was when I was a kid growing up here. We was lucky to see a squirrel. I mean, that's just the way it was. We always had to leave here to go hunting. We'd always go to Giles County or Bath County or somewhere way out of here to be able to see any wildlife. And it gives you a really good feeling to know that now you have this right in your own back door.
There's a great deal of habitat here available. The restoration of mine land creates an open, early successional habitat that the elk thrive in. And because of the quality of the habitat, the elk that we have here are not roaming very far. Very, very different from what we see in western species of elk.
The ability to have somebody take their mind off of whatever the problems are and watch elk for a little while and just enjoy the outdoors and nature and see something that they've never seen before. I recently took one gentleman, he's been a local resident here all of his life, and he's probably in his early 90s and had never seen an elk ever, you know, with his own eyes. I mean, he's seen them on TV and that sort of thing. We was able to get him within 50 yards of one of the biggest bulls on this property here not too long ago. And he was exceptionally overwhelmed. You know, he said it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience for him, and it just tickled me to death to be able to help provide that for him.
They are wild. There's nothing here that's fenced or any high fence in the area that keeps them here. So they're free to roam anywhere they go, but they choose to stay here, I think, due to the quality of habitat that's provided from volunteer work here. So, you know, I don't know of anywhere else around close to us that you could go at pretty much any time of the year and see elk. This is one place that you know, it may be late evening, early morning, you may not see them all the time, but if you come here most of the time, you're going to see an elk somewhere or several elk in the habitat that's been done. It's definitely, if you choose to walk a lot, you most definitely can, but we have created some of the open field areas and habitat areas, especially for folks to be able to come and do pictures, video, or just enjoy the evening with a sandwich and a cup of coffee and fellowship out here, so that you don't have to hike the mountains to see it. A lot of the elk you see here, they are a little more, I guess, willing to tolerate pictures and stuff because they do see a lot of folks. We see white-tailed deer a lot. We see the wild turkey, black bear. They'll be out eating the clovers and the grasses in the spring times here, just like the deer and the elk. But also the number of birds and stuff that we see here. Talking with some of the local folks when we first started this project about what we could plant and put in our seed mix that will help the birds as well as the larger species of game, it's pretty amazing. You know, I'm not really one can tell you a lot of the different birds and the names, but the folks that do, we see a lot of them travel here to do birding and get pictures of birds. And I think it offers a lot by having some of the habitat we have here and for birds to be here and stay here and nest here. We watch when we try to do some of the habitat work that we don't interfere with that as well.
One of the neatest things about the elk population is that there's all kinds of people interested in coming to look at elk because they're such wonderful animals to view. They may not ever be interested in hunting an elk, but you know, they're very interested in coming to see one and coming to watch them, whether they're grazing or whether they're bugling, you know, during the fall time of the year, or whether they're cows with calves in the summertime. They're just a really, really wonderful opportunity for wildlife viewing.
The winter time, we see a lot of the elk has came out of the rut, you know. So the cows, the calves, yearlings have really grouped up. You may see 60, 70 elk in a group and not see as many large bulls with them this time of year because they've bachelored up after the rut in the winter time, and they'll kind of go off, be to themselves. Spend some time to heal up after the rut, because sometimes it's pretty rough on them as far as the fighting and the mating and stuff through that. This time of year, a lot of folks, I think, miss out on it because they think after the rut, they're not going to have an opportunity to see elk in the wild here. But actually, from November until, February is an excellent time to be here and see numbers of elk in the field, because elk will be out in the fields and grazing more all through the day, rather in the spring and the fall. Summer times when it's more warm during the day, it's more active, late evening, early morning. But this time of year, you can pretty much find elk anytime during the day. You get to see all the calves that was born in the May, June that's gathered up in the large herds like that, so you can see how your project's really done. You'll have the yearlings from last year still with the cows kind of hanging out, but also see what this year's produced as your calving season's completed.
We're definitely unique. We're unique in the state. We're unique in this part of the United States, that we would have a place that you could come spend the night. You can come do recreational activities such as ATV riding or hiking, or just coming out to view wildlife, and have all that available to you to leave your house to come and do it, or to travel, and spend a few nights here and come and do it. So it's definitely has a unique something to offer everybody around. So we've had people from the urban areas and cities that have come and stayed here. We've had people that live 5 miles away that are fascinated with it. This has become their hangout in the evenings to watch the sunset, to possibly hear elk bugle. So Southern Gap has definitely got something unique to offer everyone.
Our Department of Game and Inland Fisheries and Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation is what makes it possible to have wildlife for us here, or with especially elk. DGIF is the group that manages all of our wildlife for sure. But the work that's done on the ground is volunteers. Funding from banquets is volunteers. Just in the field work is volunteers. The agencies have their folks to maintain the laws and point the volunteers in the right direction, what we can do to help. But with our volunteers is why I think that this project has been so successful. You can hear it.
The amazing thing that's happened out here with our public recreational area that we have here with the trail system and the people that are going out and driving to the shelters, the elk have almost grown accustomed to seeing people come and spectate. So they don't feel pressured. They're presently not hunting in this area, so the elk are there. They'll look up at you, and they'll even some people swear they'll even pose for pictures at sometimes. So.
We currently have 3 public viewing wildlife shelters on this particular site. All of them are accessible by car or even through the trail system on ATVs. So you can get in out of the weather, you can get in out of the rain. They're kind of off to a small parking spot beside the viewing plots that we've built for the elk to come to. So it kind of draws the elk to the food plots and the water sources early in the morning, late in the evening, so that you can see them in a safe environment.
You can drive right up to this location. We've got a little barrier here just to let folks kind of stay behind, but also to kind of rest against if you're taking pictures and things. We've got the viewing shelters. If it's rainy or something, you can sit in them and be in the dry. We get to see a lot of folks utilize those that you'll come out and visit with in an afternoon or talk to that said, before you guys did this, we really didn't have anything to do. You'd be surprised how many retired folks will come up and spend an afternoon sitting up here enjoying the shelters and stuff. So that's always nice to see. We're pretty much at the top of the mountains here at Southern Gap, so the valleys and the view that you have with all the color that it has to offer from, you know, the maples and all the different hardwoods and stuff that's here. And the sunsets. From here, you can set up here at some of the picnic tables or at the visitor center we have here and stuff and see, you know, probably some of the most amazing sunsets you'll ever see.
A lot of people have never heard the elk bugle before, and when you walk up on one of them in the dark, and it's about 5 yards away from you, and you can't see it, and it lets out a squall, it's, you know, it just, you know, makes your hair stand on end. But it still tickles me to death whenever, you know, you have somebody that's never been around the elk, and you ease up that morning in a vehicle in the dark, and you just turn the lights off and sit there and wait until it starts to get daylight. And when the fog starts to burn off, the elk is snuck up behind your vehicle, and he bugles just as loud as he can, and it rattles the windshield. I mean, that's something to see, especially for somebody who's never seen it. We do some tours with some of the local school systems, and we get kids from several of the surrounding counties that come in when we do those type of events. And, you know, it's kind of fun to watch the kids because, you know, they're all hyper and jittery, and then when that first bull bugles, they all quieten down and everybody's paying real close attention, and, you know, it's a sight to see.
To have the opportunity to bring folks out and share the outdoors with them at any age, from youth to the elderly folks that we get to share time with, and also with folks, you know, that may be battling health issues or something they got going on in their life. But to get them outdoors and give them an opportunity to be outside, see wildlife, and just fellowship sometimes, you know, you can see the passion that you can pass on from yourself to them. To get out here is always amazing.
The elk really don't like the heat. They don't tend to come out in the hot part of the day, especially in the summer. They like a lot of water. You'll see them in the fields during the night and then during the dusk and dawn hours in the middle of the summer. But you really got to get up early to catch them, because once the fog rolls out on tops of these mountains in the mornings, they tend to hit the hollers and find the shady places and the cool places where there's a little stream. So, you know, the summertime is probably the hardest time to see the elk because they don't like being hot. They want to find some shade. They want to find a cool water source somewhere and just bed down during the day, and then they're really active at night. So, you know, it's a prelude to the bugling season in the fall. They're trying to pack on the calories and get ready for the rut.
I think a lot of people are interested in seeing particularly the cows with calves, you know, when they get back together in groups and you can see them out. I think it's a very good time for wildlife viewing.
These elk are free, they're roaming, they're doing what they want to do, and these calves were born here. So these calves are Buchanan County elk their whole life. And that gives you hope that this is working, that the process is working, that when my children come back here to live and bring my grandchildren up here, that they'll get to talk about, I get to see something that my father was a part of and my grandfather was a part of. And that makes you feel good. That makes you feel that there's always a spark of something new that can happen for future generations. And I think that's what we're all trying to do it for.
But mid-May into June is our calving season. We see a lot of the cows will separate from the groups at that time, and they'll go off and spend time alone, and usually when they come back they'll have the calves with them. So it's a really good time to be here and get pictures of the calves when they first come back out and the mothers start to bring them into the fields. or the cows start to bring them back into the fields with them. A lot of folks find it surprising when they first visit or get to see elk calves that the number of spots on them, they look like a fawn deer. So I always, you get folks out, they just find that to be amazing that they didn't realize how they were marked up for their color. And we've got to be a part of that through the process, working with the Department of Game and Inland Fishery folks through the entire process of working with them, seeing the calves. And we had elk here that was held before they was released to work with those calves at birth and things. So that's a really good time of the year to be out here and visit, just to get a share of those little ones. Because the two primary times that I think folks like to come out and try to get pictures, we would encourage you to come at any time, but it's during that calving season for the little ones, and then you go into the fall when you start into the rut. So everybody likes to see the bigger bulls show up, the fighting, the breeding, the bugling. That's where you see a lot of it, because it's like with your white-tailed deer, the rut's what really brings out a lot of the larger elk to be more visible and definitely more vocal.
Calving season is probably one of my favorite times to be out here, especially when cows start to bring their calves back to nursery groups and they start to come back into harems. It's really awesome to see how many calves were born and coming back into the herd. It's a really exciting time. It's also great weather that time of year.
In the fall, like I said, we'll have the rut, starts in September, and it'll run up through November or into November most of the time before it kind of winds up. That's when, like I said, the bugling, the fighting, the mating for the elk. Also, you'll get into, you'll see a lot of white-tailed deer here during that same time. But it's, I don't know, just to visit here and understand what we have here and what we have to offer with wildlife is just really good.
It's always good to see them, whether it's summer or winter. But during that fall, it's just a really special time with the fall colors, and the weather's very pleasant. And just to hear the echoes of those bugles here in the mountains is just a really nice experience.
Having elk that remain in the same areas is great for tourism. It allows people to know where they can go to see elk and have a really good chance to be able to view them, especially in the rutting season, end of September, early October, when people can come and have a good chance to see animals that want to be out in the open.
We came up to walk around and do a hike across through here, and it was during rut season, and Paige asked me, she said, what do I do if I come upon an elk? What do we do? And I said, I'm a large object, so you can just stand behind me. And we immediately heard elk bugling underneath the trail, about 20 yards from us. And I told her to sit still, and I looked over the hill, and here come about 30 elk walking up across the trail. And I had my camera in hand, and I got down on the knee to take pictures, and I was enthralled. And I was just sitting there going, my goodness, look at the size of this bull that's 15 yards from us. And I was taking pictures, and I was talking to my wife, and when I turned around to see what the reaction was on her face, she was 100 yards away in a power walk, walking at about 50 miles an hour. She said, those animals are very large when you get that close to them. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people don't understand, is that these are large animals, and the size. When you see whitetail and you see a large buck, or you see something like that, your heart races and you get that buck fever. But when you see a 900-pound bull that's 20 yards in front of you, and he's bugling and screaming, and you can feel the reverberations of his bugling through your chest, that goes to a different level. That's a little bit more than buck fever.
every time I hear elk bugle, it gives me chill bumps, and I never tire of hearing it. It's just a very unique sound. I think that it just gives you a feeling that is not replaceable.
The bull elk tend to mark their territory. They'll horn bushes, you know, they'll mark the ground where they're at. It's a very musky smell, and if you've ever been close enough to it to smell it, you'll recognize it from then on. It's like I said, a very musky smell that will stay in the area for quite a while, and they do that intentionally to mark their areas. The bull elk will mark an area, and you'll be able to smell him from 50 yards away, and that kind of notifies his competitors that he's there, you know. So it's an interesting thing to walk up on when you're out shed hunting or something like that, and all of a sudden, what's that smell, you know? And it's a very, very strong musky smell. When they lock horns, it's an event. I mean, it's like, you know, two bulldozers trying to push each other around. There's hair and snot and, you know, just everything in the world, you know, they're slinging one way or the other. They'll paw the ground and they'll have grass in their horns and pieces of tree branches in their horns, and you know, I've got some video of these two bulls pushing each other, and one pushes the other one straight up the side of a hill, and thus just a boiling. So if you get to watch something like that, you don't see that just anywhere. And you know, we get to see that here pretty regular, so it's a pretty good, you know, feeling to be able to go out and see that. But you can hear it usually before you see it. When they lock horns in the woods, it's a unique sound as well. So people hear, you know, deer locking horns and they rattle horns to call deer in. When them elk lock horns, it's loud, and these hollers amplify the sound, and you can hear them a long ways off, and it actually lets you locate them a little bit easier as well.
It's always enjoyable to watch and be out and to get a follow this project. You know, we was here actually before the first release, during the release, but each year to watch it grow and see the new calves, how many bulls, how many cows is in that by the next year, and to see it. I never get tired of it. I love it. I've been a part of it, like I said, since 2010, before we had elk here, and still take several folks out each year to get to experience it. And you know, I just find it very rewarding to get to share and pass on something that I love to other folks as well.
We absolutely have enough land here in this area to support the 250 that we have now, and we believe the 400 animals that we have as a target. Because the elk don't migrate in Virginia, they stay basically in the same place year-round due to the milder climate, and because we get more rainfall than the western states do, vegetation is more lush. We can support more elk per acre than you could in, say, Montana, Colorado, some of those western states. Excited to see what happens in the future. You know, as these animals continue to grow and prosper here in Buchanan County and beyond.
It's beyond our wildest dreams and what, you know, how fast things have moved. The thoughts that I had as an entrepreneur in the locality about what could be done to piggyback something like the Elk Release Project to promote tourism in the area, to promote a change of attitude for our region, get rid of apathy and have something positive to talk about. There were all kinds of potentials that we knew that could be there, but here, less than a decade later, and seeing what has happened, how far it's reached outside of our locality, and what's happened at Southern Gap has been tremendous.
You know, as a parent of children that enjoy the outdoors, you know, I'm hopeful that, you know, one day my children or great-grandchildren may ultimately get to hunt an elk here in Virginia. I may never see it in my lifetime, but it's great to be a part of something where you're putting back for the future.